Happy New Year of 2025. I'm Speedbag, and today I'd like to talk about how to spin the Speedbag. This has been featured a lot in my video by System of a Down Chop Suey. There are several moments in which I take the momentum of the speedball and then I transfer it into a spin. So one of the clever benefits of doing a spin is that you essentially convert the momentum of the Speedbag going from forward and backwards, and you just convert that momentum into a spin. One of the nice benefits about this technique is that whenever you put a spin on things, the ball, if the spin is performed correctly, will usually just hang around in the center right underneath the swivel, which makes it easy to set up the next hit on it. But this requires a little bit of finesse to set up the spin properly. For that reason, I've attached a latex rubber glove on my left hand just to illustrate what's a way that we can kind of reduce the difficulty of learning this. So first off, you want to get used to hitting the Speedbag just nice and controlled right here. Straightforward circle punches, nothing crazy. And the concept of the spin is that before the Speedbag contacts the closest side of the platform in front of you, you want to intercept that momentum, ideally directly under the swivel with a spin, and usually for your right hand and your left hand side is a little bit more intuitive to go across the body in order to perform said spin. One of the important things too is that you're not trying to grab the Speedbag as if a football or a baseball was being thrown at you. Rather, you want to parry or divert the momentum of the Speedbag almost as if you're brushing it off, as if you're just parrying an incoming blow towards you. And you're just simply guiding and redirecting the momentum into a form from straight forward and backward just to rotational. I'll demonstrate here. So the reason why I have the latex glove on my left hand is that ideally when you're first learning this technique, it can be a little bit hard to develop not only the right speed in which to pass your hand over the Speedbag for that spin, but also the right amount of traction or like friction required to get there. A very quick and easy way to get used to that friction or to temporarily increase it is to just wear a glove that has better friction and retention than your own natural skin. I'm using a latex glove here. Reason being is that just imagine this. Take your fingers on your bare hand and then just run it up and down the Speedbag or even side, right? Very smooth. Do it with your latex hand, you'll see that there's a little bit more resistance here. You can actually hear a little bit of the scraping, and this is useful because this will get you used to the right amount of friction and tension you need in order to contact the bag. So first, set up just a nice forward circle punch and then spin. You're not doing too much, you're not overextending your arm across your body, you just want to get it 4 to 6 inches away from the center of your face, but just like a very slow and controlled movement. You don't want to go too far because then this becomes very difficult to recover from. You ideally want to keep your stance as square as possible with the Speedbag when you're doing these, so then you can then transition back in. But you're thinking to yourself, this spin doesn't look very fast, and at slower speeds and slower rebounds, I mean, there's not a lot of energy that you can convert into the spin. So, but you want to practice slow first. You want to get the concept right first, and then once you're comfortable with that, you then want to build up the speed. The reason why I caution against this is If you do this too hard, and if you're not properly trained to execute this technique, you may end up using your fingertips to contact the bag in order to do the spin, and worst case, this can cause, you know, the speed bag, especially if it's very full of air and very heavy and dense, this will cause you injury because it'll essentially crunch your fingers in towards you, and that's not very pleasant. You know, at best, you'll get like maybe a light bruise, a few aches. At worst, you may get a little miniature fracture. This is a little bit of a dangerous technique if you don't scale it up correctly and slowly. Nice and easy. If anything, I'm using the inner pad of my hand here. Not exactly the hand, I guess the first little knuckle joint here. This is ideally the area that I use to contact the bag, so that way it protects my fingertips, but also this gives me more room in which to guide my hand. You don't want to use the palm or like the palm and under here, because there's not a lot of room for you to impart your hand momentum. Ideally, these first set of skin knuckles and down, like this is your sweet spot to do it. Now if you want to build up momentum, maybe hit it 3 times. You can alternate sides, like do 3 hits, 1, 2, 3, spin, 1, 2, 3, spin, 1, 2, 3, spin. Do it nice and controlled first. Please don't injure your fingers. Please do it very slowly, okay? Once you get comfortable with it, then you can slowly start increasing it. And you can see that one's a little faster because there are 2 factors. One, the momentum of the speed bag compared to this is now much faster. And secondly, is that when you contact the speed bag, the speed at which you pass and divert your hand across the speed bag will also translate into how fast it goes. If you do a little bit slower, then of course you're muting a lot of that momentum, and that causes the bag to be slower, which is great for control. But if you want to have a little bit of flair, pass your hand faster over it, so that way the spin is a little bit quicker and more impressive. This is very nice to do, especially with the striped bags, because you can appreciate the colors twirling like so. It's very cool. Now, for me, the easiest version of the spin is to use your forehand and guide pretty much your inner palm, or the meat above your palm, across this, you know, the fattest part of the bag in order to impart the spin. But one other way that I like to do spins is use the same concept of using the backhand. Same concept and location. You want to use the meat between the first knuckle and then, you know, this area here, okay? This area here. And you want to do the same thing as imparting a spin there. But there's an additional benefit that happens if you learn to spin it with the backhand, because you can do a couple of interesting stops. So like this one. This is one of my favorite ones. You just simply let it spin, and then the momentum of the bag will spin, and you know, it can rest on your elbow, kind of like a parrot resting on a pirate. Like that. And all you're doing is just imparting that spin, but then you're just folding your elbow in and then letting it rest on the crook of your elbow right here. Same thing here. And there's a lot of different varieties and, you know, adaptations that you can transition into this, but one technique I'd like to showcase to tie into my previous video on twirls is you can use the backhand spin to set up for a twirl. So let's slow it down just a little bit, okay? So whenever I'm doing a spin, right, I'm of course using the backhand here. There's gonna be a moment where the ball is stationary and just rotating like here. And then I'm going to take my hand, fold it back over on the upper half of the bag, and then I'm just gonna twirl. So let's do that a little slower. So spin, and then ideally you don't want the back to be resting on any part of your arm when you're doing this. You kind of want this to go through and then around like that. So a little slower, like so. Switch hands. Okay, that was a little ugly, but so spins. Be very, very, very careful. Try not to be tempted to use your fingertips unless you've built up enough experience and dexterity to pull it off safely. Use the meat right here and right here. And if it seems like it's not gonna, if it seems like the ball is going a little bit too fast towards you, and you see that, just try to make sure you don't hit these top parts. Make it as close to your bottom portion of your hand and palm. Just safety first, because I mean, yes, this will be a little bit annoying to hit it with your palm because then it'll miss hit and it'll fly off, but that's better than you having a fracture in your fingers. Right. And this is one small exercise that you can do to just train on working each side of your hands, both your forehand and your backhand. So just one hit, spin, one hit, spin, one hit, spin, one hit, spin. So right side forehand, left side forehand, right side backhand, oops, left side backhand. One more time, right side forehand, left side forehand, right side backhand, left side backhand. And I'm just using a connecting forward circle punch with the opposite hand so I can just generate that little momentum. You don't have to go really hard with these, just get used to that feeling. And then of course you can take your glove off too once you've gotten the right amount of experience, because then if you work on this with your bare hands, you'll develop even more sensitivity and a feel of how that rebound is supposed to feel on your hand. And of course, the quality of your leather will depend too, right? I like these because these are very soft. It's got good feedback with your bare hands. It's very nice. Okay. Another way that you can use to transition into spins is just like work your forward rolls, right? Forward rolls or even your backward fist rolls. But then just throw it in a spin anytime. Then resume. Even linking, right? Just one fist going front and backwards and then spin. I didn't put enough lubrication here, so I need to fix that. Okay. Have fun with spins. This is a really nice way to break the tension, or at least break the pattern of the song, give you a little bit of a chance to rest and breathe. But I like this technique quite a lot, so have fun with it.